This video is about the first submarine to destroy an enemy vessel in combat, the H.L Hunley, a Confederate submarine used in the American Civil War. Union General Winfield Scott's Anaconda plan to blockade the South was the incentive for the Confederacy to build modern, experimental naval weaponry. The Confederate government offered bounties up to $50,000 to any private citizen who sank a Union warship. This financial reward is what inspires James McClintock to begin a submarine project in New Orleans, Louisiana. Helping build and investing in McClintock's project are two other gentlemen by the names of Baxter Watson and Horace Lawson Hunley. Mr. Hunley was a wealthy man and invested $30,000 in the submarine project. The idea of the submarine is to destroy enemy vessels undetected from below the surface of the water. What the group comes up with is the Pioneer. It is built and then tested in February of 1862 in the Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain. The submarine is functional, but needs some tweaks. The speed is far too slow as it is propelled by a singular hand crank, and there are also some minor leaks. However, work was halted a month later as Union forces reached New Orleans, and the Pioneer is scuttled in the New Orleans Canal to prevent capture. The team of McClintock, Watson, and Hunley fled to Mobile, Alabama with their plans for their submarine. There they started work on a new submarine at a machine shop owned by Mr. Parks and Mr. Lyons. It was here that the team of three met George E. Dixon, a young Confederate lieutenant. Dixon had been given a $20 gold coin by his sweetheart Queenie Bennett, who he planned to marry after the war. Miss Bennett told Dixon to carry the gold coin with him for good luck. When Dixon led his regiment, the 21st Alabama, in the Battle of Shiloh, the gold coin which he had placed in his trouser pocket deflected an enemy bullet which would have otherwise killed him. After, he inscribed on the coin, "Shiloh, April 6, 1862, my life preserver, G.E.D." Dixon and the 21st Alabama was then sent back to Mobile as artillerymen to defend the city. It was during this uneventful time that Dixon met Hunley, McClintock, and Watson. The now larger team built the successor to the Pioneer, the American Diver. They experimented with an electric engine and a steam engine, both failures, so instead the submarine was fitted with a larger hand crank that would require 4 men to power and a 5th man to pilot. The American Diver is tested in January 1863 at Mobile Bay and is quite successful except for its slow speed. It is decided in February of 1862, an attempt is to be made to destroy a Union ship blockading Mobile. The way the submarine is to destroy this vessel is by towing an explosive behind it. The sub will pass underneath the enemy ship and the explosive will detonate underneath the waterline, sinking the vessel. American Diver is towed to the mouth of Mobile Bay, where it sinks unexpectedly. All the crew escapes, but the sub is not recovered. Despite this loss, the team soon starts work on a third submarine which is nicknamed the Porpoise. This sub was designed for a crew of 8 rather than 5, 7 to power the propeller with the hand crank and 1 to steer. Floatable ballast tanks were used to control the depth of the boat. A snorkel is added on the submarine to get breathing air from the surface, but it does not work. Still, the crew have 30 minutes of air inside of the submarine. Once completed, the team would demonstrate the capabilities of their new submarine to Admiral Franklin Buchanan in July 1863. The Porpoise successfully sank an unused coal flatboat for the demonstration, using its towed explosive. The towed explosive, while successful, proved to be hard to maneuver, so a new method of attack was devised. Instead, an explosive, or what was referred to as a torpedo in the 19th century, would be attached to a long 22-foot wood spar. The Porpoise would deposit this explosive inside an enemy vessel and detonate it with a line after getting to a safe distance. After the impressive demonstration at Mobile, the sub was transported by rail to Charleston, South Carolina, where there was more naval action. It arrived August 1863 and would be stationed at Fort Johnson. Shortly after arriving, the Confederate military took ownership of the submarine from the team, but still kept Hunley and the others on the project. Confederate Navy Lieutenant John A. Payne of the ironclad CSS Chicora volunteered to be the Porpoise's captain. For the crew, 7 men from the CSS Chicora and CSS Palmetto State volunteered. With the new, inexperienced crew, a test run is made into deeper waters on the 29th of August 1863. The sub travels out into the bay with its hatches open, and an accident happens. Lieutenant Payne accidentally steps on the lever that descends the submarine. The sub fills with water from the open hatches. Lieutenant Payne and 2 others escaped, but the other 5 were trapped and drowned. Still, the team does not give up. The sub is recovered and the more experienced crew from Alabama is used instead. PGT Beauregard appoints George E. Dixon, the lieutenant involved with building the sub at Mobile, Alabama, to captain the sub. On the 15th of October 1863, another test is to be made. Mr. Horace Lawson Hunley himself is to pilot the submarine on this test, as Lieutenant Dixon is not present. During the test, the submarine submerges without returning to the surface. When it is recovered, it is found nose down in the mud. All 8 of the crew, including Mr. Hunley, are unfortunately drowned. To honor Mr. Hunley, the submarine is renamed from the Porpoise to the H.L Hunley. It is on the night of the 17th of February 1864 that the H.L Hunley is to finally attack a Union vessel, the USS Housatonic. The Housatonic is a wooden steam sloop with 12 guns. The ship was stationed 5 miles out of the entrance to Charleston. Captained by Lieutenant George Dixon, the sub makes its way to the enemy ship. The H.L Hunley, after successfully sinking a Union warship, allegedly surfaces and flashes a light. Shortly after, it mysteriously sinks, drowning all its crew. It is in April of 1995, 131 years after, that the H.L Hunley would be seen by man once again. It is recovered from the ocean floor in 2000. When the Hunley was opened, all the crew's remains were found inside, along with many artifacts. George E. Dixon and the $20 gold piece that he carried with him was found. The gold piece was warped from the musket shot at Shiloh, and there were traces of lead from the bullet.